Hi, this is Chris with Ricker Forge, and today I'm going to show you how I season any of my carbon steel. So we'll go ahead and I got some lathes here that I made. I'm going to go ahead and put a coat of seasoning on them. Pretty wild looking, but so basically the biggest thing is they've been doing this with cast iron and carbon steel forever. The whole concept is to bake in a layer that protects the steel. And it also prevents it from getting scratches into the steel. And it just protects it. And it builds up over time. And you can strip it down and re-season it if you like to start a new layer. Sometimes it's a good idea so you don't keep building up layers until it's ridiculous. You're only supposed to season it every once in a while. You're not supposed to scrub cast iron with soap and water, but when you get a piece of cast iron up to 400 degrees and that whether it be oil or whatever you're using to recoat the item, that's pretty much going to sanitize it pretty well. You could brush it off, or you could use a cloth and basically clean it off. But I mean, when you get these items seasoned and hot, it'll pretty much kill any bacteria. I don't think anything's going to really survive 400 degrees for an hour or two. So, also one thing that's nice about that layer of oil that builds up over time, it's not like it's oil, it's not like it's ceramic or some other metal. It's literally, in most cases, it's a fat. Or in this case, you could use vegetable oil, peanut oil. I'm going to be using vegetable shortening. That's just my favorite seasoning to use. You could do multiple layers. You can build up the layers. The more layers it has, the more scratch resistant it's going to be. You can rinse it off after you're cooking and stuff, but if you clean it, I'd suggest you just use just oil. Just clean it with oil. But the good thing about using these, it's not going to melt. So there's nothing on here that's going to melt. There's no plastic handles. Nothing's going to burn. So I mean, if you're skilled at cooking and this would be, it's actually a great option, carbon steel. So I'll go ahead and kind of give you a rundown. I'll probably just even set it up right on my anvil. All right, so okay, so there's a lot of different ways. The whole idea is to get the temperature up to a point where the product is the product that you're using is basically going to smoke without actually catching fire. So you're basically cooking it into the steel is what you're doing, and it's going to create that layer. I'm actually going to put this on the ground so it's more sturdy, but what I have here is, this is basically a countertop oven, and this is a great way to season pans or season anything without using your actual oven, where you could possibly create a mess. Also, it gets really smoky, so ideally, if you have the area, you could go ahead and do this outside. It works great. So what you want to do is you want to get the items up to temperature. In this case, it's going to be about 400, 450. You could do it for an hour. I usually do it for an hour and a half. You can go all the way up to 2 hours if you want. But I put a pretty heavy coat on, and that would be one coat. So I'll go ahead and set this up on the ground. That way it's a little more stable. And then I'll go ahead and just basically show you season these items. And then we'll come back and take a look at the results. Okay, so like I said, what I use, vegetable shortening. Fantastic. You know what's so great about it? When you're basically putting it on, same thing with coconut oil. If you have it cold enough, it's going to be in a solid state. Actually, I'm going to put some gloves on for this too. But you essentially are going to cover it all with the shortening. I like to use cloth, cotton. Go ahead and grab one of them. This is basically a cotton little towel is what this is that I'm going to be using. Alright, so the best. Yeah, I almost tried plugging into my vacuum. All right, here we go. So yeah, this product, like other type of fats, they come solid. And then what I do is I just basically coat it. So you want the part that's going to be contacting, I guess, the food the most. I mean, it's all going to be contacting somewhat. The handle, you don't have to really worry about the handle too much, because just by you using it, your natural oils will essentially keep it from rusting, which is kind of gross, but I mean, basically, yeah, that's the same thing. Like steel rings or anything that you tend to touch with your hand, the oils from your skin will essentially keep it from rusting. So go ahead and put a nice even coat. So yeah, you can do this in an oven. Obviously, that would be so. I'm just going to go ahead and continue giving these a nice coat. So this would be the first of many seasonings these items will have to go through. If you look in the store and you go and take a look at new cast iron that's been produced, they've already been seasoned. They come pre-seasoned, so they're very dark. They're almost basically jet black. Over time, as these products get seasoned over the years, they will eventually start looking like that. Now, you don't want to season it all the time, meaning you don't have to season it very often, because if you season carbon steel or cast iron too much, you will have layers of it. It kind of looks like a thin yellow layer is basically what the seasoning ends up looking like. And if you season it too much and you keep seasoning it on top of the old layers too much, it will flake off, and you will continually have issues. So don't over season it, and don't under season it. If you under season it, obviously it's not going to have that layer that prevents it from getting scratched, and also you could start getting rust buildup. But here, the best thing about it is even if you get rust to build up, you could just take a steel wool, or even some really fine sandpaper, and you can basically just clean it up and then just re-season it. And it's basically from square one. I mean, that's the thing about cast iron too. If you ever go into a let's say like an antique shop and there's a bunch of cast iron there and it looks like it's seen some days and it's all it's got rust and stuff on it. I mean, you could basically sand that thing down and get it all cleaned up, get all that rust off, and just re-season it, and it's a brand new, basically just works like a brand new pan, which is pretty great. All right, so I got all my items placed in there. I'm gonna I'll keep them all kind of alternating directions. It doesn't really matter. The heat's gonna basically I'm gonna run it at 450. It's gonna get all in there. All right, so go ahead and pop this on, turn it on, and start my timer, and then I'll be back and we'll take a look at the results. Okay, let's see what we got in here. cooled down. But they were really hot. But I had to keep correcting my audio, so they got cooled down quite a bit. But these turned out pretty nice. Come over and bring the camera over here, and look at that nice yellow layer building up. So this is one coat of vegetable shortening. Ideally, you want to have about 2-3 coats, and it will start to get that classic dark look to it. In this case, I'm just going to keep them basically, I'll do the first coat just so it doesn't rust. And then the new owner will go ahead and run coats of whatever they like to use on it. Keep in mind, if you are doing the coating, that you make sure the person you're giving it to doesn't have a food allergy with the oil that you're using. A lot of people got peanut allergies, coconut allergies, fish oil. I don't think you can be coated with fish oil, but you can. You can use basically a lot of different oils. So vegetable shortening and coconut oil, they're probably the easiest to make. I like using both of them. So that being said, this is a great option. Carbon steel, using as a cookware. You really can't mess it up. You can't burn the handle because it's not plastic or wood, so you're not going to be catching that on fire. You can refinish it anytime if the coating gets all messed up. Like if you mess up a ceramic coat, it's done. If you mess up a Teflon coat, it's done. If you mess up a cast iron or a carbon steel coat, you can save it. You save that pan. So a little bit something special about this ladle is, look at that, alternate and twist. So I get my camera focused. That's such a cool twist, isn't it? That gets that wave going. But yeah, that's pretty nice. So this item will basically, as long as it's kept out of water, last forever. You just have to make sure when you clean it, instead of using water and soap, you basically are going to clean it with a rag and oil. And then depending on what you got going on, you can go ahead and the heat, if you wanted to go ahead and ultimately sanitize it, you can just run it over in the oven, or just heat will kill it. It's not much. It's going to survive 400, 450 degrees. I mean, and as these products get used and more oil gets basically seasoned on it, these are just going to keep looking nicer and nicer over time. Excellent way to cook. So I wanted to thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you spend more time with your family, and I hope you enjoy the new year coming up, and hopefully next year won't be too rocky.
And maybe even next year, try to use more carbon steel in your cooking. Might be a good option. All right, y'all have a good one.